So it's middle of September, about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's sort of suitably light now, but it's still pretty dark for the camera. So we parked the truck up over here and we just walked out across some fields. There's a couple of stags just out in the field about 300 metres away. One of them was having a roar. When it was dark still, when I was back at my house, I could just about hear it. But they're too big to shoot really, so we'll just watch them for a few minutes, see if anything else comes across, and then we'll probably head through the wood and have a look on a field the other side. Well, we've come into this little corner of field around the edge of the big wood where we've done quite a lot of stalking on the video in the past. It's usually a tip for finding some reds out, but there's absolutely nothing this morning. Just have a look around this corner because there's a field of maize down there and there might be something just on the edge of that. See down there, but obviously that maze is quite tall, so they could be in the maze. I think what we'll do is we'll head down, just go down the edge of that field. It should be a little bit lower as we get down in a corner, and then we can always come back up through the wood. So we're just down in this bottom corner of this maize field around the edge of the wood. There's nothing obvious. There's nothing come running out of the maze anyway. You can see obviously behind me and to my right this maze is quite low, or very low. And it's a combination of obviously a fair percentage of it has been eaten by the red deer, but also some of it just hasn't grown very well down in this bottom corner. Obviously had that really wet winter last year, so maybe the ground's affected it a little bit. We're just messing about, just getting some stock footage of this maze. And a couple of young stags just came out of the wood in front of us, but both nice young stags, so obviously from a cull point of view not really ones to take. But it doesn't appear to be anything else, so we'll keep heading down. You can just see in here where a stag's been in there thrashing about on those little thin dogwoods. Obviously this time of year they're just taking out their frustration on any little trees they can find. But no sign of it. Yeah, and then you can see here, probably maybe the same stag that was smashing those trees up. He's obviously been rolling around in some sort of muddy water, and he's come out on the ride and laid down. Rubbed a bit of that mud off on the grass. Here's a pretty active wallow. So the red deer, more than any other species, they wallow around, mainly the stags this time of year in the rut obviously, but also the females do sometimes. That's more about trying to get the ticks and the keds off them, just like the cameraman's trying to do now. So just had to take this jumper off, it's so warm. It's been quite cold the last few nights, like going down to 10, but this morning was 14 it said at home, but it's warming up quickly. It's too hot wearing that. So we've just sort of stalked up through this main ride on this long finger of wood which sort of sticks out of the bottom of the big wood. Obviously saw those two younger stags on the maize. but it's pretty quiet apart from that. I haven't even seen a muntjac crossing the ride. There's been a couple barking in there as we've walked up, but I can't find them with the binoculars. There's still quite a lot of cover and grass through the woods, so unless they come out in the open, it's quite difficult to get them. We'll just have another look in that field, just in case anything's coming out or going across as we've walked up here, and then we'll probably head up into the main block of wood behind the cameraman. Nothing on that field, so we'll just keep looking through the main bit of the wood. So we've just come up into the middle of the wood on one of those crossroads, and the estate is now in this woodland grant scheme, which has got some implications for like the deer management. Obviously we're having to try and shoot more to reduce numbers. But they've started doing a little bit of tree work in the big wood here. So this is the forwarding machine, so it just grabs all the timber that's been cut and stacked where the harvest has gone through, and then this carries it out of the wood, piles it up on the outside. So they've just started doing the pine blocks that are in here, which were planted in the 50s as a cash crop, and then eventually the whole wood will go back 100% broadleaf. And then I think in November they're going to come in and start doing some of the broadleaf areas. Just making some clear areas, fencing it, and then replanting or letting natural regeneration come in. So maybe that moving around in here has made a bit of a difference. Pushed some of the deer away, but you never know. But yeah, we're still not seeing very much, so we'll just keep trying. Just walking up the ride here, and then there was two muntjac just chasing each other around on the left hand side. Just run off. Couldn't get the gun up ready to get a shot in time. Oh, you little bugger. So a little muntjac just came across the ride there. I think it was a young buck. And just as I got the gun up and put it onto fire, I gave it a little whistle to try and get it to stop before it went in the cover, but it obviously clocked us and went straight in. So we've just come out of the wood and we're going to go up the edge and then go back in on another ride. But this was the field we started out on, where we had those two sort of good young mature stags coming across at first light. But it looks like they're going to spread a load more muck on that field, so obviously nothing's going to come out here now anyway. There's not a lot to eat on it, and they're going to spread muck on it, so there's no point hanging around here. We've got pigs behind you guys, so yeah, we'll just go up the side here, come back in at the top and see if we have any more luck up there. Just spotted something in the thermal. It's a young stag running away from us. I don't know if it's seen us or whether it's just on the move somewhere else. I can't see anything else with it, but there could be something else in these trees on the left, so we'll just keep going slowly and have a good look as we go with the thermal. Usually see some underneath these pine trees, but I guess where they've come in and thinned them out a bit, it's not quite as attractive for them at the moment. we'll keep heading in, and we might have to get in some hazel coppice, see if we can find them in there. Couple of 100 grey lag geese out on that stubble over there, but we're not having a lot of luck with the reds, unfortunately. We're not even seeing much of anything else. We've sort of bumped a couple of muntjac away in the wood with, you know, the bracken and stuff, but the reds just aren't showing at all. So they're either well hidden or they're camped out in the maze, which is around the edge of the wood. Or maybe there's just not many here at the moment. So kind of out of ideas in here, so we'll leg it back to the vehicle and drive into another area and have a look down there, see if we've got any more luck. Right, so we've just had a quick look around another area from the vehicle. Actually come across a lady walking a load of dogs that shouldn't have been there, so we've just politely asked her to leave. Hopefully that won't have disturbed the area we're going to look in too much. Wind's coming from that direction towards me, and we're going to be heading through like that. So it's only a sort of a thin, long piece of wood, so the problem is if we spook anything at one end, it's just going to run the length of the wood and clear everything else with it. But we'll give it a go, see what happens. So I'm stalking through this bit of woodland, getting attacked by the keds. A lot of the bracken's still like 4 or 5 foot high, so all we're going to see on the reds to start with is like a head and a neck, obviously, but there's just no sign of anything. We've seen a hind and a calf just running down a boundary, but we haven't pushed them out, and I was hoping we might just pick a muntjac up in this open areas underneath these sweet chestnuts, but it seems to be a bad year for chestnuts, so there's nothing underneath them where we'd normally find them as well. So we've got a couple 100 metres left of wood to go, so we'll keep trying. We had a look in that long thin wood behind me, obviously didn't get anything in there, or didn't see much in there. So we're heading back to the vehicle now. We've got the wind completely wrong, so it's blowing, you know, behind us all the way. But we're just going to have a look in an old pit down in this next wood, and then there's a few chestnut trees, which there might not be many chestnuts on the floor, but at least it'll be bare underneath. We might pick a muntjac up or something. So I'll go give it a go.
Well, there's nothing through here either. It's pretty late now, it's like 11:30, so normally I'd be packed up ages ago, but we've stayed out to try and get something for you guys to see on film. But it's just a really quiet morning. If the deer are there, they're not showing up, and I'm sure they're there somewhere. Deer have a habit of, you know, one week you go around and you think you haven't shot enough, and the next week you don't see anything and you think you've shot everything. So there'll be some somewhere, but in this tall bracken it's just difficult to spot them, and we could just be stalking past them. Even more so with the muntjac and roe. So yeah, I think unfortunately we've sort of drawn a blank, which is the first time it's happened in 3 years of filming. But it does happen sometimes. That's why they call it hunting or stalking rather than just shooting. But yeah, frustrating.